I find it really interesting that depending upon your political perspective, the economy looks different to you, right? And so there's a really fascinating study that was done through Pew Research. And the question that was asked was, both of Republicans and Democrats, how do you rate the economy as either good or excellent? And so if you take a look at this chart here, if we go to the year 2000, you can see at the beginning of 2000, both Republicans and Democrats were feeling really quite good about the economy, right? And then we had the NASDAQ bubble burst and everything started to drop, right? And then we had the September 11th terror attacks and the market was down, down, down. And, that was a very intense time, if you remember that. But if you look here, by the time we reached 2003, the market started to rebound. And you can see how the Democrats were feeling about the economy, and you can see how the Republicans were feeling. And it's just a really significant gap between the two, right? And so if we think of this in terms of who was in office, this was George W. Bush years, right? And so I guess as they rate this as the economy is excellent, it's not necessarily saying it's excellent today, but more the perspective of are we headed in the right direction, I think is how I read this chart. So the Republicans were feeling a lot more confident. The Democrats were significantly not, right? And then in the year 2008, you can see how everyone gets on the same page. We had the mortgage crisis and significant, mortgage or market crash and the housing bubble that burst. And so that was a really tough time, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. But you can see, regardless if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you're pretty much in the same, everyone could acknowledge that, yeah, this is not good, right? And then you can see as we head into the Obama years, Democrats were more optimistic, and you can see the difference between the two there. And then we reach 2017, Trump first became the president, and you can see that the Republicans were really at an all-time high as far as their perspective of the economy and the outlook. The Democrats were, as high as had been in really a couple of decades. But then you can see here in when COVID came in, I think it's just fascinating. In 2020 and 2021 there, where the Republicans were fairly optimistic, much more optimistic. Democrats, it really plummeted as far as their perspective. Such a big difference that I think is really interesting. And now we look at the Biden years, and you can see the Democrats that would rate the economy as excellent, it's about 41%, with Republicans at 10%. And so, anyway, I just think it's really fascinating that we actually see the economy differently based on our political views. I have some other interesting statistics I'd like to just show you here, and kind of a comparison from a political policy standpoint. And so if we look at Korea, we look at the history of Korea, we're dealing with the same people, right? The Koreans, same part of the world. And after World War II, they became divided, right? We had the North that was supported by the Soviet Union. We had South that was supported by the United States. And they ended up becoming two separate states or two separate countries, right? It's really interesting to see how government policy can affect the people. And, government policy in a short time frame may be, not all that perceivable. But when you add decades to it, it's pretty amazing how much it impacts the lives of the individuals. And so now if you take a look at this map, this is actually a photo of Korea at night. And you can see here, South Korea is all lit up, and North Korea is quite dark. There's a little bit of light, but not a lot. And this is actually showing the electricity consumption between the two countries. So to me, what this indicates is the lifestyle there's a significant difference in the lifestyle of North and South Koreans, right? Other, kind of fascinating statistics just to know, as far as roads, paved roads, only 3% of the roads in North Korea are paved compared to 92% in South Korea. So their infrastructure and their prosperity has been significantly better, right? If you look at internet usage, it's 0.1% of North Koreans are online. Basically, no one's online. That they don't have that option available to them. South Korea, you have the vast majority of people that are online. If we look at the per capita, the GDP per capita, how much per person, North Korea is just $1,800 versus the $32,400 for the South Koreans. So what that means is everybody in South Korea is more prosperous and has a better lifestyle than North Koreans. If we look at the press freedom index rating, North Korea is near at the very bottom at 178th, where South Korea is in the 50th position. So that is basically saying that North Korea does not have a free press at all, or freedom of speech. If we look at infant mortality rates, I thought this was interesting. 26% of the babies born in North Korea will not survive, while it's 4% in South Korea. Now, is that because of better doctors, better healthcare system, better education, nutrition? I don't know exactly what makes that difference, but it's a really surprising and a significant difference. And then if we just look at life expectancy, the average North Korean has a life expectancy of 69 years versus South Koreans 79. So, their neighbors to the south have 10 years longer life expectancy just because of the environment in which their society in which they're born. So, I don't know, you can kind of draw your own conclusions. A communist country like North Korea, very repressive, and every country has its challenges for sure. But I'm very grateful to be an American. Wonderful, prosperous nation. The other day, someone asked me, they said, "Lane, what do you think the solution is to our divided country?" And the first thing that came to my mind was prayer. I think if we've ever needed God's wisdom, we need it now. But anyway, if you disagree, or agree, I'd like to know. Share your comments. Hope you found some value in this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the Financial Fast Lane.